Yes. Can you hear me, Bernetta? I don't know if I'm in the show or not. Crystal? I don't know. I think we go on after 3 minutes. I'm not sure. Okay. I don't know if we are on or not. But if we are, hello, Savannah. Savannah. How are you all doing? Alderwomen Lanier, you there? I don't have, let me see. Let me see something. Hear me?
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
May have cleared it up, whatever you did.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's see here. Hello, can y'all hear me? Oh my goodness. Crystal, can you hear me? Okay. I can't hear myself back.
Blakely, can you hear me?
Oh, thank you. All right. Hello, Savannah. How is everybody out there in internet land and all of that good stuff? But we're doing a special show tonight because of what happened on yesterday. And we just want to clarify some things and get some people on a understanding note of what happened at our city council meeting on yesterday. 3 of us on council voted for a rollback on our property taxes. and 6 individuals voted for the property taxes to stay the same as it already is, generating a certain amount of funds for the city. Well, during this pandemic, uh, I thought that it would not be necessary to leave the taxes at the 12.79. I felt that, now I'm speaking solely for myself, I felt that if we did a rollback under these circumstances, it would be beneficial to our citizens. Uh, while we attended the GMA conference, we found out that the federal government is sending a lot of money to our city in the amount of $55 million. And it was stated that the money would only generate $27,000. Well, I found that to be rather interesting. I know that banks aren't giving a whole lot of interest, but I know on $27 million, you're gonna get more, in my opinion, than some $27,000. But anyway, uh, I personally decided to vote against that tax increase, because if the point is, if your property value increases, that means that your taxes will increase as well. So the ones I believe that it would adversely affect would be our renters. And now, if a person has a property and the property is valued at $1,000, and the valuation goes up to I'm sorry, the property is valued at $100,000, and it goes up to, say for instance, uh, $1,200,000, then that means what? If that person is renting that apartment complex or renting that house or whatever, that amount, that extra amount is going to go towards the renter's rent. So that is one of the reasons why I voted for a rollback in this pandemic. We're supposed to be looking out for the constituents, and I felt that we could pull monies from someplace else in the coffers of our finances in the city to give our employees, because we do stuff for everybody else, but we could find a way to make it happen for the employees. Alderwoman Lanier,
Yes, can you hear me now?
I hear you well.
Great. Okay, so yes, thank you. I was asked to appear to explain the vote for the rollback. And I think if you look at the people that I serve, the people who sent me to City Hall to represent them, any opportunity that I get to save them monies, I need to take that route. And the argument on the other side is, well, we the money we will make by keeping the same percentage, the money we will make, it will be worth it would be worth the increase. And I beg to differ. In the first district, I get these calls continuously on service issues, on drainage, on trash, on overgrowth, on hanging trees. And I have difficulty uh, when the constituents, after months of putting in service requests and bringing their problems to my attention, when we still have difficulty getting these services, taking care of these service requests. And of course, we continue to try to send in ideas for pilot programs that will help us with the problems of maintaining the lanes and the overage with the tires and the grud and the problems in the first district and what they call blight. And we really want to get this blight cleaned up, but it's slow in happening, and we need to do something very impactful. So at a time of COVID and a time of begging for services, now we want to increase the tax, and I don't think that's a good idea. The stockholders, the citizens in this city, they're not only stakeholders in this incorporation called Savannah, they're stockholders. And so we're looking for a value proposition. We're looking for a return on our public investment. And when we have can't really justify the increase, and then when people call me and ask, are you going to vote to increase our taxes? And for me to try to explain to them, well, it's not really an increase. It's technically a thing. I'm not going to try to do that. So I believe that we can do other actions to generate income, and that we've submitted some ideas that we haven't taken because we're so ingrained and embedded into business as usual. We don't even want to try different techniques, different best practices. We're just kind of, this is the way we've always done it kind of mode. Um, I introduced last year an opportunity to bring in a wellness program that has been proven by other cities to save millions of dollars in a city when the employees register in this wellness plan. They're in a wellness plan now, but we're not getting a return on that. This will offer a return. And staff was so callous and uncaring and trying to pursue what I brought to the table and recommended that they do all the research, the due diligence, the cost benefit analysis, because there are other cities that use this program and save money. And they did not pursue it in good faith. And that was a revenue generator. And so this is the mindset that we're up against. So now you come and you tell me, let's vote for an increase, or by maintaining the same percentage that it's not really an increase. Well, it would increase the tax that people pay per meal.
Yes.
So therefore, I could not justify to my average constituents that this was in the best interest of their investment or as a stakeholder in this city to increase the taxes at this particular time. I couldn't
Exactly.
justify it.
And I heard some comments as we were looking at the comments that people were making while we were doing the council meeting on yesterday. I read some comments where the folk were saying that the citizens that came down there to the chambers, to City Hall, to voice their opinions about the increase, people in the community are saying that we coerce these people to come down there. That is so far from the truth. I just want the public to know that we had no idea, at least I had no idea, that those people that are, a lot of them are Trump supporters, was going to be down there. And I want people to know that, the government is supposed to be transparent. You have a right to come to City Hall to voice your opinions about anything that involves you as a citizen in our beautiful city. So for all of those that say that we coerce these people to come down and speak against council and all of that kind of stuff, that is so very, very far from the truth.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Very far from the truth. That is nothing that we did. These people, you know what, I have to say this. Our government has been run so non-transparent for so many years that now here we are as elected officials engaging the citizens, having conversations with them, making them aware of what's really going on, letting them know that this is your government. You have a right to have open, transparent, and fair government. And I'm so glad and I'm so thankful that people are actually getting engaged, getting involved, and paying attention to what is happening. And yesterday was a prime example that they want their voices heard, and people are paying attention. That's all I got to say. People are actually paying attention.
Absolutely.
And, speaking up and speaking out. And I also want to say that last year, we all voted for a rollback. We all voted for a rollback. But now here it is this year when we are in the midst of a pandemic, another Delta variant, one more supposedly deadlier than the COVID-19. I guess that's a part of the COVID-19. I can't see us wanting to uh, keep it as the same as it was, as opposed to rolling it back. You got any comments on that, Alderwoman Lanier?
Well, let me say this. I'm glad you mentioned those people that came down because I didn't know those people, but I knew one person, the young man with the gas mask on. I know his
Oh
name is
yeah,
Ben.
protocol.
Yeah, I know he's a Trump supporter, but I had no idea he was coming down. I hadn't spoken to him in months and months, hadn't seen him in months, but they have a right to come. So that's not accurate or
Right.
it's not true. So none of us have monopoly on the truth. So that wasn't true that I asked knew anyone was coming. And I'm okay, with that. I don't know those people, but I was proud of them to come
I was
and
very
represent
proud of them
and
and
speak
so
out,
glad that
as
they
citizens,
engaged themselves
that they were
in the
citizens.
political process.
But let me also say this about the millage rate. Uh, so we did all vote to, after extensive argument and maybe some public almost humiliation, we all ended up voting to roll back the millage rate on last year. And it's the same argument this year because we're not done with this pandemic. We haven't recovered financially from the pandemic. We're suffering economically from the pandemic. The federal government is assisting us, even the city, with funding because of the impact from the pandemic. So if the city is impacted negatively financially, of course people are. So why would we put any
Exactly.
extra financial burden on our citizens? This city would not go under if we rolled it back. Now, the tax millage rate, of course, is or what we set it at should be based on the tax digest. So if the
Mm-hmm.
tax digest is estimated to be a particular amount, and the millage rate should represent that, so we could bring in that amount. So if the
Mm-hmm.
tax digest, like in this case, is going down, and then the millage rate should go down to match that if we want a zero or we want to balance it. But if we leave it the same and the tax digest went down, then that difference is an increase. So why are we taking money
Yes.
from our citizens in a time of financial upheaval and the time of a pandemic? So it's even showing good faith. And if we were to do the rollback, to balance the tax digest, it's in good faith that we do that. And for a person who represent a district with as much poverty and the racial wealth gap and
Mm-hmm.
people of that nature in the first district, then why would I'm not representing them if I go and vote a tax increase on those same people? Who am I
Exactly.
representing? Who am I? So I think that I know I'm creative enough to work with people who are much smarter to come up with solutions and other revenue generators. We haven't even tried really hard to do that. And I thought that's what we were trying to do, business a little differently and bring in some innovation and make sure that our attorney keep us focused in the right area of public affairs. So this is what I'm trying to do. I told the attorney last year when I met with him, shortly after we got elected, I told him, went to introduce myself, what I do. I told him about Ivory Bay, the nonprofit that I founded in 2005 and that I had rotated off as being the chair
Mm-hmm.
and CEO, and we had someone else on and what we do. And I told him in the first district, our stuff had been left on the table. We have
Yes.
not come to the table and get what the fair share was for the first district, and I came to get it all. I told him his job is to keep me from going across the line, but if the good is up near the line, I'm going near the line. I'm a total line. I'm going up in the corner. I'm going up in the crack. I want it all for the first
Yes.
district. Listen now, I don't want the second district on. I don't want the second district on the cross MLK. I don't want the fifth district across 50 Drive, but everything coming to the first district. I want it, and I'm going for it.
That's
I'm
right.
going up
That's
to
right.
that
And I
line.
have to admit, you have been fighting hard, very hard, to make sure that the first district is actually represented. And I commend you, and I'm going to be right there to help you fight to get the things that the
Absolutely.
first district need, that the whole city as a whole needs. And I just want to say this. Um, the housing market in Savannah is horrible right now. The prices are going through the roof and everything is going up. So that means that eventually our our renters, our renters will see an increase. Our homeowners will see an increase in property taxes. Mr. Hall,
Alderwomen,
how are you?
I'm good. I just had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you. Bernetta, you know you're all the way dark. I wanted to let you know that we can't see you at all, so you need to get in some light if you want to be seen. Um, and I want to ask both of y'all, what is the problem that the people don't see that you all are fighting for them every single time on every issue? And
You know
and
what I
and
think the problem is, Mr. Hall? We've been so used to not being involved, not getting engaged. I heard a person said to me the other day, say, you know what? You talk too much. You tell all the business. And I'm like, I tell all the business because uh that's what y'all put me in the seat to do.
correct.
You put me there to be transparent. Government is supposed to be transparent. So they're not used to it. It's like in Savannah, the mindset of some people is just not let them do whatever they want to do, and we're going to be all right with it. And it has been that way for years.
Mm-mm. Yeah, well, it just seems like, if the three of y'all are fighting, why isn't, why don't the other six get it? What part of it that, when are they going to start doing something for the people?
I can't. That is a question that you all would have to ask them.
They're not talking,
When, huh?
they're not talking to us.
They're not talking. Okay, so that means I can't answer that question. I know what you sent me there to do. I'm doing it. And I'm doing it to the best of my ability. I want people to know what's happening in our government, in our city government. They need to get involved in our state government and also our county government. And I got to say this. People always say the city, the city, the city. Well, listen up, y'all. The county has plenty of money as well. The county has plenty of money for services that's supposed to be for utility, for rent assistance, mortgages, and what have you. Pick up the phone and call them as well to find out what they have to help our citizenry.
Yeah, I think that most people just think that it's just a city problem when they got to get all the government entities involved. I don't understand it when you're trying to help somebody and people don't understand that you're trying to help them. That's just a problem to me. If I'm trying to help you, don't get in my way. Stand behind me, or get out in front, or stand on the
Exactly.
side. you know. And I see y'all doing it every day. Y'all are really out there fighting. People think that y'all just rabble rousers and y'all just causing a problem. Y'all ain't causing no problem. Y'all are bringing up issues for the people, especially for those
Exactly.
marginalized and those that are disenfranchised and underserved. And y'all are bringing up those issues, and nobody's wanting to listen. And the thing is, a lot of people are behind y'all. It really is. A lot of people. Everywhere I go, people say that they're behind you. And they're mad with the Johnson administration.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, and that first thing, why don't y'all just come support them then? And most of them say we do support them, but we're gonna show them with our vote. I say, well, they're gonna continue to do the same things that they're doing now until you step forward and help these ladies do what you're doing. It used to be four y'all, now it's just three. I'm trying to figure out why and what happened, where that ball dropped.
I don't
And
know what
you know,
happened. I don't know what happened.
yeah, but I kind of figured that was going to happen, but I don't know. I don't know. I just
I'm
hope
just
that.
gonna be optimistic, and I'm just gonna hope and pray that we as an administration get it together. For so many years, it's always been status quo, status quo. And we've always had a problem of elitism. You know what I say all the time? This city suffers with isms. We have elitism, cronyism, sexism, racism,
Classism.
oh my gosh, classism. It's so many issues
Yes.
that we in the city of Savannah deal with because of the way the government has been run for so many, many years. And I tell people all the time, you didn't send me to City Hall to play the game. You sent me to City Hall to change the game. So while I'm
Right.
changing it, don't tell me that this is the way I should do it or it's been done this way before. No, I don't care about that. We're going to make it transparent. We're going to make it open and honest as much as I can. That's what I'm going to do. You know, talking about folks are saying, well, what I heard the other day, a young lady said, well, you tell it all. You say this and you say that. Before I got up there saying this and saying that, did you know? Before Alderwomen Lanier got up there saying this and saying that, did you know? Before Alderwoman Kesha Gibson Carter got up there and started saying this and saying that, did you know? No, you did not. And we had two individuals that had been there, but they weren't saying half of the stuff that we're saying, and they're still not saying it. This is a I said it moment.
No,
It's almost. Oh, go ahead,
I'm not interested at all in business as usual, because if I were, and then the first district will continue to get nothing, because that's what we have been getting, nothing. We have not had anyone fighting and advocating and championing any projects that will really benefit the people of the first district. Now, we got so much work to do with that arena. I wish I could get everybody to focus on the fact that this intent, the intent of the Canal District, the intent of the arena was to bring an investment to the west side, an area that had been underinvested in for generations. And so therefore, the people, another generation, lobbied to get that investment here, and it came in the form of that arena. Now, two things need to happen. We do need that capital project, that big public works project. We do need to invest that $165 million. And actually, I don't even think that will be bringing us to parity in the monies that we haven't received through the years. So therefore, it's our time. It's past our time. So that investment needs to be accompanied with policies that ensure that benefits go back to the community, and that's not in place. And by recommending these policies, recommending these actions, the same fight that I was receiving as a neighborhood president and as a West Side advocate, I'm getting that same fight from the people who were staff supposed to be working to make sure that me as a policymaker, they implement the policies that I recommend based on good public administration practices and research methods. And I bring all of that and produce that. And still, we do not get the political will of 5 votes to have any policies in place that will help the low wealth people of the West Side, the people that were intended to be helped by the arena. So what does that look like? So we need community benefit agreements with Colonial Oil and any other large stakeholder who feel like their name should be on, get the naming rights. That should have came with a community benefit agreement. It did not. So my battery, let me make sure this battery is in.
It almost feels like you know, the people, when they see what you're trying to do and it's for their benefit, that they should be behind you. They should be lining up behind you to fight, because the only thing that these people understand down at City Hall is numbers. They understand power.
Yeah.
They understand that. So, and it's almost like y'all are Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner and Journal Truth, and
Fannie Lou Hamer, Sojourner Truth, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X.
Yeah, and it's almost like these people don't understand that slavery is over. They don't want you to help them. They don't want to be free. You know, and that's the mindset. You know, for lack of another analogy, that's the one I came up with. But you know, just think the mindset. Here's somebody helping me Shouldn't I jump in and help them fight the bully that was beating me down for all these years? Now here's somebody who's going to fight them. I should be behind them.
Let me say this, Mr. Hall. If you think about 16, 20 years in office, think about that. So the young people now who are in their early 40s, early 30s, and in their 20s, they were either being born 10 years old, 15 years old, or 20 years old. Now that's the age when most people become politically aware, maybe not involved, but aware. So based on that, the young people in this town, 40s and under, they know certain faces been there most of their lives. So if you see somebody with that type of longevity, then you have to assume that this is what leadership looks like. Now they're old enough to start understanding issues and start understanding voting and ramifications and the numbers of politics. Politics is important. I hate to hear people say, I'm not a politician or I don't like politics, because politics govern every part of our lives. It governs where our collective money goes. Politics direct that. Say it was a big fire hose and all of our money was being shot out of this fire hose. Well, politics direct where we aim that hose, whether it's at something going to benefit your child's sports and recreation or benefit housing programs where your relatives and elderly neighbors could get their housing. So we all have to be astute in politics and understand chess. Learn how to play chess. That's one of the best things you can do. Strategize ourselves into this situation. Now, what I'm telling the leadership and the first district, the presidents of the first district, especially in the Greater West Side, even all the way out to the Highlands, I'm working to empower these citizens to have to their own power, to recognize and know how to use their power. So no longer will politicians promise us anything. No longer will mayors and city managers we want it in writing. We want we want good neighbor agreements, and that's a precursor to community benefit agreements. We're working on that, but first we need an ordinance. But right now, the only thing we have to bind anyone to anything promised to a neighborhood is that good neighbor agreement. So don't tell us anything no more. Don't tell us nothing. Put it in writing.
That's right. That's right. And one thing I want to say is, if you look at the arena project, since you brought that up, Alderwoman Lanier, it is a sin and a shame that $169 million project did not require any local DBE participation or local participation. These individuals in that last administration signed over the rights to the arena, to the developer, to the OVG and AECOM Hunt, just signed it over to them and said, y'all do what you will. Did not even care about the people in this area. And that was supposed to be an economic driver for the citizens of Savannah. On top of that, we had two individuals that's on this administration right now that did not come back to the people and tell the people what was going on so that we could get on top of it before now.
This was a
generational wealth. And if anything was said, it was said very quietly.
This was a generational wealth building opportunity when you gave that to OVG. Let me ask you something. I saw something where the council voted to buy some damn ice machine, some ice cleaning machines for the rain. The city isn't going to really be getting a whole lot of profit from this. It seems like it was done for everybody else that's already got money. Like I say, generational wealth. And why is the council buying two machines to clean the ice for a hockey team?
Well, that's supposedly.
The hockey isn't for that area over there.
That's supposedly already in the money from the arena. That's already the SPLOS money. So it's already done. I assume that all of that was added in that $169 million.
Well, because the hockey was already chosen, we didn't choose that. Then the Zamboni is a machine required to maintain the hockey rink. So now is the market that's intended to be uplifted by the arena is not a hockey market. So therefore, I think the idea behind that was to entice other people, to bring other people, but we can't stop there. and I'm tired of being against so much. Let's be for some things. Let's get a minor league or D League basketball team, and I bet you it will be sold out each and every time that plays. So these are the kind of things that I want to advocate for going forward, to bring some more attractions there. Everybody like basketball. I bet you white, black, red, green, yellow, white, everybody in this site will be up in there for some basketball. And we will be taking advantage of the hockey. I'm gonna try to get every child I know involved in that hockey program, and to go sit down, and we're gonna make sure that arena get hockey residents in there. They have an opportunity, and they aren't able to attend because of cost. We're not going to have that, because we need some community partners making sure the children of that area where the arena sit could afford to go to X amount of hockey games per year. So this is the community benefits that we are seeking, that we are looking for. Let's produce some hockey superstars and send them up and get some scholarships so they could go and study finance and study economic development. And so this is the program and what we want these children to learn. So
that'd be good, Alderwoman. That would be good if we could get the kids to participate in something. But I still don't think that was what was needed there. And like you said, I like the basketball idea better, because you have more people participating, more of us participating. But I was in a meeting, and one of the things that we discussed today was that they're probably going to be redrawing the lines, and they're going to cut your district at Stiles Avenue, and the arena won't even be in your area anymore.
Well, I know they don't want me being the voice over the arena, but it's intended for the people I serve. So we might have to go to court on that one, because that economic driver was put there, and it's going to be cut away from the people it was intended to serve, and it's in the opportunity zone. So you're going to cut the opportunity zone away from the area that designated, that qualified, that made it qualify. The people who live in those neighborhoods made that area qualify to be an opportunity zone. So how are you going to cut the opportunity zone out of their district? So I hope our representatives are at the table making sure that the economic development that was intended for the people don't get cut out of the people's district. So like Alderwoman Blakely said, that the last council, they set no goals. Goals for DBEs and MWBEs is to help level the playing field, is to bring equity, is to make sure that we have participation. And so the last council required, they gave no goal. They set no goal for participation, and 0 out of $165 million. This council placed a 25% goal on the construction projects at this arena. So of course it's not equal to the population right now. It's not population driven or represented, because we do have to work with the programs to build more capacity. And I think we're moving in that direction right now with working with the unions. And right now I'm working with a group of people who we're planning on building a youth empowerment center with trades and training and music and technology in West Savannah. So we got to get this generation ready. We cannot wait on city council, city government, mayor, alderperson. We can't wait on no one. At the community level, we got to build. What made us stop building? Our people always build. Why did we stop building? Who we waiting on? Who we depending on? So we got to pool our resources, and we got to build our 501c3s, and we got to come together and put our monies where our mouth is, and get the matching grants and everything. Go up to that line again and get everything in the crack, in the nook, because we hadn't gotten it. We left it on the table, but I'm bringing it home. Get it.
You know what? Since you mentioned 501c3s, listen, Savannah, listen. The Land Bank Authority just awarded property to our nonprofit, to two nonprofit agencies, I believe it is. I know Family Promise is one, and there's 2 other properties that's being awarded. So I want you all to realize that this is something that we're doing on council as well. If there's a project that you want to do, and the city is awarding properties, take advantage of it. Put your name in the hat as well. I've requested a list of the properties that the city has in the land bank, and let's do some things that's going to benefit everybody. Transitional housing, meeting centers, whatever, because it is something that we're doing now. And it was attested to on yesterday on City Council that the Land Bank Authority with the city of Savannah is actually giving property to our nonprofits. So
are those fully developed properties, or what kind of properties are they?
Those are properties that they got from eminent domain.
Well, not just eminent domain, but they go down to the sheriff's sale and purchase properties. But the city, funding and that housing funding is behind that. It goes into the land bank, and the land bank has the ability through legislation to award that property to nonprofits, to development, housing development nonprofits. And they do have to meet certain requirements. But if you meet those requirements, you should not be barred. But you
shouldn't be barred at all. Well, we're not going to allow them to be barred, because if they're doing it for one, I'm from the school of thought. If you do it for one, you're going to do it for all.
So it is a best practice to award that housing to housing nonprofits. So we just got to make sure that we have representative housing nonprofits, and that being a 501c3 nonprofit, it should be a return to the community because it's owned by the public. The public actually owns that entity. So that's where we headed. I support that, but we need a lot of eyes and watching this to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and that it's being administered in an equitable manner. Now, something that's not being taken into consideration, and people think I have three heads when I say we got a culture in these neighborhoods. In these historic Black neighborhoods, we have a culture and a history, and we have a way of life. And we have a distinct architecture. So to come in here running ramshod and tearing everything down and building all of these little houses that make it start looking like a city project, the City of Savannah project, we need to make sure that as we come into the West Side and to these historic African-American neighborhoods, that we take consideration of some type of hearing to determine whether or not that particular property need to be torn down or built. And we sure don't need a high rise on Hudson Hill on Graham Street. That is the craziest thing that happened. But that's the kind of stuff that has been being done to these low wealth neighborhoods. They know that was wrong to rezone a residential area that the community had already had in place of to put 21 affordable houses, to sell it to a friend / developer, to put a high rise and a J.C. Lewis Clinic. No, thank you. We didn't ask for that. We don't need that. We have a community plan. We don't want that. And our community plan got 21 affordable housing. So how did the last council vote unanimously to let a developer not only change zoning from a residential piece of property in a residential neighborhood, but also to purchase it at the same price that the city bought it at 13 years prior? It was just so much problems and dishonesty and crookedness in that deal that it will make you sick. So we're not finished getting that known yet. We got to come back around to that, but we have so much coming at us in this part of the West Side that it's going to take a while, but the awareness is the first step.
Yes. And you know what, Bernetta, it's not just the West Side. It is predominantly African-American communities. Yesterday on City Council, a man came before us to build a property over on, what is it called? A PUD over on the east side off of East Broad Street. And when I go in that area, I went yesterday because I wanted to see, it was 14 properties that he possibly owned and had redeveloped and what have you. And I just wanted to see those properties. And I had a conversation with the community members out there, with residents out there. And they were like, they didn't even know that all of this stuff was happening. And these were lifelong residents off of 39th and East Broad, off of 38th and East Broad, Solar Avenue, all those areas up in there. And it's like folk just came in their community and just started taking over, and now the rents are extremely high, the taxes are extremely high. So it's like, they're just taking advantage of our legacy communities. And it's just sad. So we're fighting so that does not happen.
I know it's just not the West Side, but we've been fighting the old Savannah River plantations over here, and we saw it happening to the East Side and knew that it was coming. That's why we formulated Ivory Bay Community Development Corporation, because late brother Curtis Cooper, myself, Pam Oglesby, we said that, look, because I was a young administrator, a public administrator at the time, and I was working in engineering and public works, and I saw these plans pointed towards my community, although they were 10 and 15 and 20 years down the line, I had to come back and blow the whistle, blow the horn, and say, look, this is coming. So we need to formulate something that will build an alliance for us. So when they come over that Bay Street Viaduct, when they come up Gwinnett Street, we'll be standing arm in arm and say, look, we're in an alliance, and you got to talk to us before coming through here. We welcome growth and development, but we want smart growth and development. We demand policies to be in place that are anti-gentrification as far as forced displacement. We have a legacy here. We are embedded here. We are rooted here, and we don't plan to go anywhere. And so that's because of this voice that have never been at the table being heard. It sounds foreign. It even makes some people angry because they're not used to hearing low wealth people, the people who are at the belly of the beast here in Savannah, the people who made the moonshine that equipped all of the bars downtown back in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. Yeah, these same people who fed Savannah through the city market, that when the municipal farms were out here on the West Side, the same people, so we're still here. And people don't just one day, too many people decide, I'm gonna move to the West Side. They usually are generational people, their mother, their grandmother, family people. We live here, we've been here. And so we have something to fight for. We know our legacy. We know we have these assets out here like the Weeping Time, historic assets. We got a lot of assets out here, human resource assets. So that's why we fight. That's why we fight, so we could build wealth in place. We're not interested in poverty and eradicating poverty, because we know if we concentrate on building wealth, it'll take care of the poverty. So we plan to build wealth in these low wealth communities. And it sounds so odd to some people, but I find, Mr. Hall, it's my generation that hear this and push back and oh my goodness, why don't you go someplace and sit down and hush? Those old people who told you to go to school, you actually listen. But I'm saying that to say the young people, they embrace this. They hear this talk about building wealth, about building legacy, about the possibilities of staying right here and buying the block and buying our communities, and they believe it, and they're doing things. They're not waiting on us. They're doing things, but we have to leave a foundation that is so solid that our young people could continue to stand upon it and build, get up on it and build. And yeah, I advocate hard for the first district, and especially the West Side portion of the first district, because this is my legacy. This is a fourth generation resident. My great grandmother, Cordy Butler, lived in Frogtown and walked to West Savannah every day to Cummings Street to her daughter's house, and so West Savannah, Frogtown, Hudson Hill, where my dad born and raised, his mother lived here. Friendship Church, 5 doors from my house, was built in 1890. We have a history out here. The worst thing could have happened was to allow that Salvation Army to bring the homeless shelter and those transitional houses there on that sacred piece of historic property. And it should be used to commemorate, to celebrate, to honor the people who were sold from that property. And at the same time, it's so large enough, it could also be a upliftment because of the terrible thing that happened. Something great could come from this, just as wonderful as if we could use it also as an economic engine. So we could do all that, but it would be up to the people once we continue to slay this devil.
This machine, this dragon.
Yes,
We're David and Goliath. I'm telling you, people don't even understand how serious this is. I tell people white supremacy is real. It's really real. We had the GMA conference over the last week over on Hutchinson Island at the Trade Center. And I got the history of when GMA was formed, and it was back in 1937, and it was about 7 6 or 7 white men that put it together. And I tell people, you know, if you think about it, in 1937, who was advocating for African Americans? Not too many people that I know of, except for the ones that we found in the history book. I'm talking, it wasn't a mass of people, and the ones that had control back then, they weren't advocating. So when I look at that and I go to a class, and the class is a lobbying 101 class, and in that class, they're teaching you how to not answer a constituent's question, I'm saying to myself, good Lord, this thing has been going on. Well, I know it was going on for many years, but this is a machine. This is something that was created way back when for us to not tell the truth to our people, to our constituents. And I don't give a doggone who you are, what your ethnicity is, what your race is, what your gender is. If you're poor or if you're middle class, then it's a system in place to keep you poor and to keep you at a middle class in the city of Savannah, Georgia.
Absolutely.
Alderwoman Gibson Carter has joined us on she's in a bad area. So she I don't know what she's gonna come on audio, but Alderwoman, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Hello, Savannah, and hello, ATR. Mr. Hall, I'm gonna need you to be a little bit excited when you introduce me, sir. You sound tired. I know you're upset with me. But it's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it.
It's all love.
Gonna make it.
It's all love. Y'all know I love
Port Wentworth, y'all have your hands full because Hall is a taskmaster. He doesn't play the radio when it comes to scheduling, time, events, and activities. He is on the money, and we appreciate it. We're here for it all. We're here for it all.
Thank you.
So listen, I'm sure my intrepid colleagues, Alderwoman Post 1 and Alderwoman D1, I like to affectionately call them. You all, have you told the line? Did you give it to the people plain and straight? Are we good? Are we good?
Oh, you know, we told them, but you can tell them as well.
Well, Mr. Hall wanted us on tonight to talk about the millage rate and what led up to our decision to petition for a rollback. And I'm sure what I'm saying is consistent with what you've probably already stated. And that is that we were more inclined to be concerned about the citizens and not increase taxes and have them absorb expenses simply because of poor planning, wasteful spending, and overreaching of our government. We're talking $1.9 million is essentially what this 12.79 millage rate will yield, as it will increase people's taxes whose assessed value increase. And so I stated to someone the other day, we trip over $1.9 million going in and out of City Hall every meeting. And so to be disingenuous, Mr. Edward Moody of WSAV, I appreciate your correcting my word choice, sir, but that is definitely evidence of your bias reporting and your ominous against me. So we're good for it all. I had to get that little plug in. But what we are challenging status quo, we are challenging business as usual, and we are aligning ourselves with what the electorate voted for in 2019. Probably in the history, never in the history of coastal region politics, Savannah politics, Georgia politics, did we experience an entire council being voted out and a nearly brand new council being voted in. That was the largest indictment of our political system in our municipality. And so with that, we recognize the strong voice of the citizens in that they wanted to do business different in Savannah. No more did they want to have an administration who would simply be engaged in special interest groups, under the table and over the table payouts, but truly have a heart for the people? We came in with the spirit of giving Savannah and Savannahans a heartbeat where our government is concerned. And in short order, we seem to have, well, not we, the three of us have resisted taking on the spirit of the previous administration. Nothing is different from the Eddie DeLoach administration. The same friends and buddies that Eddie had, our mayor, Van Johnson, now has. If you look at his campaign disclosures, and he likes to say that it's public, and I encourage you people to go and check the record, go on the City of Savannah's website, look at the financial disclosures that we are required to offer, and just ask yourself, why we're not in an election season? Why is the mayor receiving campaign contributions from an attorney's firm who petitions our council constantly for the privilege of having zoning options and variance changes? Connect the dots. And so at the end of the day, people can argue how palatable it is for us to fight the way we're fighting. You may have an issue with our tone or our choice of words, but you cannot argue what we are fighting for. And we are fighting for transparency in government, giving government back to the people, and just being honest. And we have been lied to. There are the city manager, the outgoing city manager, Micah Brown. He is and was a liar. The mayor constantly lies to the people, gaslights the people, mislead the people. And it's painful to sit on that dais and listen to this in real time, and the audacity of these people to do this in recorded live meetings. It's just beyond me. It's frustrating, it's aggravating, and it's taxing, having to fight for the people and then turn around, explain to the people why you're using the weapons that you're using to fight with, recognizing that we're only fighting because we're not on the same team. Yes, the appearance of who we are, we look alike, but we're not alike because we're not fighting for the same thing. Somebody said recently, I can't let anybody get a word in edgewise, but I was just trying to get it all out so we can just let people go and enjoy their Friday night. But we thank you for these platforms and giving voice to our narrative, because the media doesn't spin it right. I think it's been reported that the council voted to keep the millage rate at 12.79, when it's really, really easy to say that the council voted on a 6-3 vote to keep the millage rate the same, as opposed to, continuing to provide cover, as opposed to providing the citizens with accurate coverage of the news. So that's all I have. That's all I have. See, that's why I kept talking, because nobody else is saying anything.
We talked out. We've been talking for an hour.
Yeah, so what we have to do is get the people rallying behind you, ladies. That's what I think is going to happen. People have to stop. They have to wake up and see that it's time that they get involved and get engaged. And y'all are there. I commend all three of y'all. Y'all fight every day. And people got to look and say, well, if there's a lot of confusion on there, what is the confusion about? Who's trying to help me and who's trying to hurt me? Or who's trying to make sure that I just remain in the dark? And that's all they got to do. Ask yourself those questions, and you'll see who fights for you.
Mr. Hogg, can I put out a plea? And I'm asking the public, I'm asking for help. It doesn't matter where you live at. I took a course this weekend on entrepreneurism in cities, and it's so much going on. Just take a look at some of the little rural cities, and a lot is being invested. And we knew this was a trend many years ago,
And we lobbied so hard to get an entrepreneur center on the west side that is also a community market. That's the concept. That's the concept that we came up with Ivory Bay. That's the concept Brother Curtis Cooper and I fought so hard to get into as arena committee members, to get it into the Canal District Plan. We knew that the arena by itself is not an end all in helping to uplift this area out of poverty. But if we got that city market, that community market, that is also an entrepreneur center, and we could guide our young people on the west side into that, to take these classes, to get into this program that will allow them to have incubator space in the market and throughout the Canal District and on the west side. We had a model that we sold to the planners of the plan, and we got fought so hardly by people on council now and staff members. But once it was accepted, if they looked at it and realized what it could be, then all of a sudden it's in the plan that they started pushing those people who brought it to the table away from the table as usual. They didn't want to hear anything from me about it, anything from Brother Cooper there. And now the plan is in place, and it's taken off. A lot of plans are being made. They're meeting on it. No one representing our community is there. It should be some of us who brought it at the table involved, our organization, and we're being pushed away from the table. We need that entrepreneur center. We need that market. And it's not intended to be a revenue generator, but it is intended to be sustainable and take care of itself, and we could fashion it to do that. But not only will it help the people of the west side, but it will help any young student at any university and young people throughout this city. It will be a wonderful addition to the Canal District that keep the local people attached to it and not just I'm asking for your help and in many ways. Attend those meetings, get involved, call the city manager's office and find out how we could make sure that this is a community asset. This city market / entrepreneur center is an asset. We need it. We need it. And we're really talking about uplifting this area. We can't let them take this away from us. Thank you.
All right. Alderwoman Blakely.
Okay, something going on in my car. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not, but I'm trying to put it on the speaker. But we've basically told you exactly what happened with this last city council meeting, and I'm going to continue to ask our citizenry to get involved, get engaged, and get educated on what's happening in our city government, how the government is supposed to work, not how it's been working for years in the past. Tune in to our shows. I do a podcast on Tuesday at between 7:30, by us, for us. Alderwoman Gibson Carter does a podcast. We have ATR. We're trying to educate the citizenry in our city. Y'all, let me tell you, there are so many opportunities that we could have as citizens, and I'm talking all citizens in this beautiful city, that we could change the trajectory of this city with the stroke of a pen, and people don't understand that. A lot of people would like to say we should act a certain way, we should do things a certain way, we should go behind closed doors and make deals. No, that's not how government is supposed to work. We're not supposed to be going behind closed doors. We are by the people and for the people, and we should be in front of the people when we are making certain decisions. The only thing you do behind closed doors is when you talk about personnel and you talk about real estate. Everything else should be upfront and transparent. And that's what we are trying to give our citizenry here in the beautiful city of Savannah, Georgia.
That's right. So, Brother Hall, can I share one thing with your viewers, please? And looking at your local government, if you live in the city of Savannah, if you live in the city, you voted for 4 people on council. You voted for your district alderman, alderwoman. You voted for both of the at-large who run citywide, and you voted for the mayor that is also a citywide position. So that's 4 people. Everyone votes for 4 people. 4 people should represent your interests. But it takes 5 to pass any measure. So that district person should be able to depend on the support of the 2 at-large and the mayor. So therefore, those 4 votes should be for the best interest in the majority of that district, or the work is being done by basically the alderperson, and they're going to bring the information, the facts. They're going to organize with the help from the at-large. So now you got 4 people should be supporting you, and you should be able to bring 1 more. If the measure is that important to the district and you did your work, you should be able to pick up 1 more. In my instance, so say I am the alderperson in the district. Here's Miss Kesha and Alicia at large. So Estella votes with us in many instances, but it's 1 vote that we're not getting. So to get that 5, we need the mayor, the 2 at large, your district person, and 1 more person. Normally,
we actually we need 2 because if we just needed 1, Dr. Shabazz proved that she drew the line and became their 6th vote. So it's no longer 5-4. 6-3 is the new 5-4. So, you know, someone once said there are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies in politics. But when it comes to friendship and politics, it should not be about politicians. It should be about the people. It should be about the people. We are here at these tables working, not so much negotiating, building consensus, collaborating, and networking when it comes to issues related to poverty, crime, basic needs for our neighborhoods. What do you have to bargain? How do you bargain and build consensus for poverty reduction? How do you network when it comes to reducing crime? You don't. You just do it. You just do it. I don't have friends who are developers and contractors, so I'm not trying to shuck and jive, wheel and deal, and hobnob with politicians. I'm not interested in that. Remember, I'm not for sale. My whole goal, my sole goal, is to provide for the basic tenets of government and to give government back to the people, give them a voice, give them a choice, and be ethical in my doing, in my dealing.
Yes.
So, you know, people are falling off the wagon like flies in this administration when it comes to what we stand for. But at the end of the day, people will see, it will be revealed, and we don't want to have to wait for another election season to vote people out. I keep saying this. What we need to do is hold folks accountable right now. We have $55 million dedicated to Savannah over the next 4 years. $56 million dedicated to Chatham County over the next 4 years. $95 million for the Board of Education. And the governor has millions more in his arsenal. It's time for Georgians and Savannahans to rise up and take their rightful place in government. Hold these people accountable. Engage in your neighborhood associations. Watch these city council meetings. Sign on to speak. Write letters to the council. Write letters to the mayor. Make us do what we said we were going to do. That's all I have tonight, sir.
That's all I have tonight as well.
Okay, well, with that being said, then I thank you ladies for coming on. I appreciate y'all being at the ready so that we can get this. I know y'all were all out and were rushing home. I'm glad you stopped, Alicia and Alderwomen Blakely, and sat still.
Yes.
So
I am still.
Yeah, so we just need to keep getting this out. You know, what we have to do is be a unit and let the people understand that the news is going to come from us. If we don't give it to the people, then they're not going to hear it. It's going to be the same old thing, same status quo. Nothing will change. But if we keep, they thought that we would already have quit, but we haven't quit. We didn't quit, and we're not going to quit.
You know what, Julius? We are chosen for a time such as this.
That's correct.
We are chosen. God gives his hardest battles to his strongest warriors. And we are truly warriors for and by the people. They might not see it right now. They may not even understand it. But just pay attention. Pay attention and see who's doing the work.
And
get behind the ones of us that's doing the work. Okay, not saying that nobody else is not doing their work, but I'm talking about the real work. I'm talking about policy initiatives, educating the people, letting folks know what they need to do. And I got to say this again. I said it at the top of the show. I'm going to say it now. As I was looking at the comments on the council meeting on yesterday, because if you see me turning my head a lot, that's because I'm reading the comments as we are live with our council meeting. And it was said that myself, along with Alderwoman Gibson Carter and Alderwoman Lanier, orchestrated a group of people, some Trump supporters, to come down to City Hall and voice their opinions on the tax increase. I'm like, y'all have got to be, folk have got to be crazy Alicia, to actually think that we did something like that. No, we did not. The people, the citizenry, people waking up, they're paying attention. They see what's going on and they want their voices heard. And that's why they came down there. Yes, I was surprised myself. I got bombarded walking out the door, folks was asking me questions that I could not answer. And I told them, go ask the mayor. Don't ask me, ask the mayor. Okay. And then one thing led to another, but just to set the record straight so that our citizens know, this was not something that was orchestrated. These were people who were concerned that their taxes would be increased, and they came down to City Hall to voice their opinions. I just wanted that to be said again.
And it's so interesting about that, Brother Hall, that those folks identified themselves as Trump, some of them as Trump supporters. And I was looking at those comments also, and I was thinking almost like, wow, they think we got that kind of power to bring these people. Yeah. I know we had nothing to do with that, but they were having this conversation like, oh, sure, of course they did. And I was like thinking, wow, they think we got that kind of power to do that. So it's almost kind of hilarious, and you have to laugh at this stuff. But yes. I speak wealth in low wealth areas. I speak businesses. I speak entrepreneur center. I speak community market. I speak a network of community gardens and everyone's eating. I speak new construction that's affordable where people can afford it with 10% of their income. And so I embrace this work and I speak it, and we could do this in this city right now and still be able to have someone who want a second job to clean a hotel room. So we got to move in those directions, and we need an immediate investment. We need a huge investment. We need a giant step. We need a very impactful investment. And if we cannot, you notice that they're having a problem with the workforce because people are just sick and tired of working for slave wages. And people realize during the pandemic and staying home that they have a life. People miss their families. People miss being with people. And so now that we're trying to open back up the economy and at the behest and threatening people's health, because I think we a little premature in a lot of areas that we were during the height of tourist season. And now we've seen the ramification for that. And so now we're going to hurt the economy in the long run when we have to shut certain parts back down. But in the process, we should be working towards building that economy that people want to come back to, and we're trying to force that same that same old. We're trying to force the same practices. We're trying to force, but obviously there's a turn. We're pivoting, and the economy is changing, and people aren't shopping anymore in those shops as much, and people are online shopping, and people are still shopping, and people are working from home. Unfortunately, we got put the children back in harm's way in those classrooms, but all of this is related. All of this is connected as to why we got 26 plus or minus % of people in poverty in this rich port city. So we're not looking to do business as has been done in the last several administrations. We're looking to to change the trajectory, to change the way we're doing business, so we conduct community business like corporate business. That's why I say, as we go forward, we're going to document everything, and we're going to build agreements, so we could work at that level, so we could pull those seats up to the table, so we could put out that leaf in the table and be at the table and not just settle for the crumbs.
Okay. Alderwoman Gibson Carter, any last words before we go?
I just wanted to say to what Alderwoman Blakely was referencing regarding the individuals who came into chambers. When it comes to local politics, particularly our Savannah municipality, our work really should be nonpartisan. We shouldn't even have to declare party affiliation, because when it comes to your drainage, your roads, infrastructure, crime, city services, none of that is Democrat or Republican. None of it is black or white. None of it is gender-based. These are pieces related to what we as human beings want as a free society and community. And we are also servants of people whose ideologies don't align themselves with ours. We are called to serve them just as well. And this came up with the city manager. How could we, Alicia Miller Blakely, Bernetta Bryant Lanier, Kesha Gibson Carter, we led the charge. We led the charge in getting Mr. J. Melder here, because we did not relegate race or proximity with regard to location where that position was concerned. We were more concerned about moving Savannah in a direction she needs to go. We were more concerned about changing status quo politics and about making a difference when it comes to business as usual. And so that's proof and evidence. It tripped up the majority on council, because they probably didn't think we would vote for a white man, but surely we did. Not only did we vote for a white man, but we voted for the most qualified candidate of all of the candidates who were in the pool. And so we again, I think the most important thing our citizens can do is engage. Don't rely on local media for the narratives related to what's happening in our community. Join your neighborhood associations. Every neighborhood almost in this city has a neighborhood association, or start a neighborhood association if you don't have one. Watch the local government channel or Facebook Live or the recorded archive meetings on Facebook or on YouTube. Get the information for yourself, and don't relegate everything to the city of Savannah. You also have county government. I think we get a lot of attention and focus because things are so sensational and there are a lot of interpersonal dynamics, but we should not get caught up in the minutia. We really should drill down to the business of the day and hold government accountable. I can't say that enough.
Okay. Well, with all that being said, I want to tell y'all, tune in to Watchdogs at 12 noon tomorrow, and then Pastor Leonard Smalls at 6 p.m. tomorrow. We got a bunch of stuff that we'll be covering on both of those shows, and you get your news here. We're gonna give it to you uncut, raw, and if it from our ears, from you, from what? How you say it, Alicia? from your mouth,
from our mouth to your ears. What my eyes see and my ears hear determines what comes out of my mouth. I no longer raise hell babies. I raise awareness. With that being said, we love y'all. God bless you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
I love you, Savannah.